Hey folks, thank you again for coming to Back to Basics for Season 3. Today we're going to speak with Natalie. We're going to find out what she's all about. But the main question is, what is magnesium? Is it fake? Is it real? Natural? That's what we're going to go and talk about. What are the benefits? What are the disadvantages? Is there disadvantages? That's what we're going to go and talk about today. So let's go and chat with her on Back to Basics. I'll see you there. Hi, folks. My name is Girish, the host for Back to Basics. As I said on the intro, today we're going to speak with Natalie, and we're going to go and speak about magnesium or minerals or cream. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get onto the call because she has a lot of knowledge as to why do we need it, do we really need it, or is it really necessary? So why don't we just find out from her? Natalie, thanks you again for coming to Back to Basics.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is absolutely my favorite topic to talk about.
Yes, well, so is mine. But you and I chatted, and we talked about this, and I said we don't really talk about this enough. So today was the day to do that. So thank you again for coming on Back to Basics. But before we get into the details of that, as to what it is and why is it needed, what does Back to Basic mean to you?
Back to basics for me means living a simpler yet more fulfilled life. So it's kind of cutting out all the noise that's out there that can really take our attention and distract us, and focusing on the meaningful things in our life that make the big difference to us.
Hmm. Wow, as simple as that. Thank you again for answering that question, and thank you again for coming on my show. You know, when it comes to magnesium, before we get into that, right? How did you get into that? I mean, was there something that it triggered you that you had to do some research on it, or it just kind of fascinated you? I mean, it had to be one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because if you had asked me this, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, if you had asked me anything about magnesium whatsoever, I would have thought you were crazy. Like, it had no role in my life whatsoever back then. But, like most issues, most great discoveries start with a problem, right? And it wasn't all that long ago that I spent most of my days constantly anxious, overwhelmed, dealing with anxiety and panic and insomnia. And I was doing everything that you're supposed to do. I was checking all the boxes. I was eating right. I was exercising regularly. I was using good, healthy products in my house. And yet I still felt awful.
Hmm.
So I did what any normal person would do. And I went to the doctor's office, and she tested me on all sorts of different things and sent me to a bazillion different specialists. And when it was all said and done, she sat me down. She looked me straight in the eyes and she said, "Natalie, there's nothing wrong with you. You're totally normal." And it was the best, worst news that I could have possibly gotten,
Hmm.
because I was so grateful that there was no underlying issues, but at the same rate, there were no answers to why I was feeling this way.
Hmm.
And so, I started researching and doing a deep dive and trying all different, natural remedies and all different things, until one person asked me one day. She knew what I was dealing with, and she said, "Have you tried magnesium? Have you tried it on your skin in particular?" And at that point, I would have stood upside down on my head and sang the alphabet if you told me it would help me sleep better. And so I tried it. And within 1 week, I went from sleeping 2 hours a night to sleeping 6 hours a night. And for me, that was huge. I
Hmm.
also didn't have any panic attacks that night. I didn't have any anxiety that week. And I thought, there's something going on here. And that spurred this journey that I've been on to just educate and teach people everything I can about this mineral, in the hopes that it will help them in the way that it has helped me.
Yeah, thank you again for explaining the story as to how you came into this little small bubble of this magnesium bubble. So now the main question now is, I want everyone to know, what is magnesium? What does
Yeah.
it do to us?
So magnesium it's a mineral that's present in our food. It is not a drug. It is not a prescription. It is not something you have to run out to go get. It is literally a mineral, an electrolyte that's in our food. So magnesium is responsible for so many different things in our body. There's over 700 different biochemical reactions that happen in our body as a result of magnesium. And it's literally present in every single one of our trillions of cells. So without it, we would cease to exist. Like we need this mineral in our life.
Mm,
It's involved in energy production. It regulates blood pressure and blood sugar. It relaxes your muscles. I mean, there's just so much that this mineral can do for us.
mm. Yeah, thank you again. But let me ask you this. You're saying food. So is there a certain food that I need to focus on in order to get the magnesium? Or just like what you said, don't go to the store and get it. But suppose if I do get it, is there a certain, I don't know, the number that I need to get, or what do I need to focus on?
Absolutely. So, magnesium, I always tell people you cannot supplement your way out of a bad diet, right? So, you can't like eat pizza and hamburgers and McDonald's all day long and then expect to take a magic pill that's going to make you feel better. So, I always tell people the best and number one source of magnesium in your life should be from your diet. And so, the foods that have your dark green leafy vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, and even dark chocolate all have really good amounts of magnesium in it. But as we know, not everybody eats all the right foods all the time. So many of us do our best and then still wind up, eating that bag of French fries when we're not supposed to.
Mm,
So, in those terms, or in those times, using something like a magnesium supplement can help make up for some gaps that you're dealing with in your diet.
mm,
And unfortunately, this is what trips people up. There's so many different types of magnesium on the market that people get overwhelmed and they don't know which one is the right one to choose.
mm. Yeah, thank you so much. And I guess I eat nuts pretty much all the time. So I guess I'm okay. Am I right or am I wrong in that?
Well, there's two ways we can look at it.
Okay.
The RDA for magnesium is 350 to 400 milligrams a day,
Mm,
right? And
mm,
so when we're looking at the foods that have magnesium in it, it would take 10 cups of spinach just to meet the minimum requirements of
mm,
magnesium in a day. So unless you're eating copious amounts of those green leafy vegetables and tons of nuts and seeds, it's very likely that you will wind up with some gaps in your diet. And then we pair this with the idea that our food isn't as rich in minerals and vitamins now as it used to be 50 or even 100 years ago because our soil practices are so different, our farming practices are so different, and it's left our soil completely depleted of vitamins and minerals, which
mm,
means our food doesn't have as much vitamins and minerals in it. So
mm,
for most of us, actually up to 70% of Americans, we all fail to meet our magnesium requirements every single day. And we
mm.
think about that stat, 70% is 7 out of 10 people who do not get enough magnesium in their diet every day.
But that's very high, isn't it?
That's huge. That's a lot of people who are walking around magnesium deficient, basically, and they most of them don't even know. And it's
Mm,
funny because the symptoms of low magnesium are so easily confused with all sorts of different other disorders out there. So the
mm,
typical symptoms are chronic headaches and migraines, inflammation, insomnia, restless legs, muscle cramping, pain in your joints, hormonal imbalances, anxiety, depression, all of that can be traced back to low magnesium.
mm.
And oftentimes we'll go to our doctor's offices or we'll go and speak to a specialist because we're feeling depressed or we're feeling anxious and we don't know how to fix it. And many times it's just a simple mineral deficiency.
Mhm. Thank you again for explaining that. And I think when you and I chatted, we also talked about that the doctors don't look at it on the blood tests, right? So, what do you advice do you give to everyone that what do you need to tell the doctors as to what to look for?
Absolutely. So my goal is to educate and empower people so they know the right questions to ask and the right things to ask for when they do meet with their healthcare providers. So doctors traditionally will order what's called a magnesium serum test. And this is covered by insurance. It's relatively cheap and it's offered at most doctor's visits. Unfortunately, less than 1% of magnesium is actually stored in your blood. A majority of it is stored in your bones and your muscles, about 60% bones, about 40% muscles.
Mm,
So if we're looking at the blood and we're only looking at that less than 1%, we're not getting an accurate picture of what's actually happening in our body.
Mm,
So oftentimes you'll be like, hey, doc, I don't feel well. I can't sleep. I'm anxious. They test your magnesium. It comes back perfectly fine and they send you on your way. Meanwhile, internally, you're really struggling and having a hard time with magnesium deficiency.
mm,
So, better test to ask for at your doctor's office is a magnesium RBC test
mm.
or a magnesium, or I'm sorry, or an HTMA test. And the HTMA test is my personal favorite because it tests your hair. And not only does it tell you what's going on with magnesium, but it also tells you how much calcium you've got going on in your body. What heavy metals are you dealing with? Do you have mercury or aluminum? What's your potassium like? So it gives you a really beautiful picture of what's going on in your body, and it gives you a much more accurate representation of what's happening with magnesium.
Yeah, thank you again. And this test, do we do that once a year or do we do that once every couple of years or something like that?
Once a year is a great starting point for most people, simply
Mm,
because the changes that you've made in your diet, it takes a few months to kind of show up in your body.
mm,
So once a year is a great time to do that.
Yeah, thank you again for explaining that, and but thank you for explaining that. Honestly speaking, because there's a lot of people, they don't know how often they should go. Earlier today, you did mention about the cream, and you had better sleep. So now, do I just go to some Sephora or Ulta or some cosmetic store to take a look at that? And what am I supposed to be looking for?
So there's so many different ways to get magnesium into your body. And most people are going to run out and buy a pill at their local pharmacy or health store. Unfortunately, when it comes to pills, you could have some side effects. A lot of people will get digestive discomfort. They might get loose stools. They might just feel icky all over from using magnesium pills. So, a safe and effective way is getting magnesium through your skin. So, most people don't know that a simple bag of Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, and it will absorb and raise your magnesium levels really quickly. What I always suggest is taking 2 cups of Epsom salt and throwing it in the bathtub, soaking for 20 minutes and seeing how you feel.
Mm,
Another option, if you don't have the luxury of a bathtub, or especially for people who are elderly or frail who can't get in and out of the tub, doing a magnesium cream is an incredible option. So there
mm,
was a beautiful study that was done, I want to say it was done in 2017, and it showed that people using a magnesium chloride, which is what's typically found in creams, using magnesium chloride were able to raise their levels within about 12 weeks.
mm.
And comparatively, it takes 6 to 9 months to do that with a pill. So we're seeing that using magnesium chloride on your skin raises your levels faster, and it doesn't give you the side effects of digestive discomfort that pills often do.
Yeah, thank you again. Do we need to get some advice from the doctor? Because I want everyone to understand that we should get some guidance in order to put some cream on because I don't want any side effects either. Am I right or wrong in that?
Well, generally speaking, magnesium, since it's a mineral and it's not a drug, it's perfectly healthy for most people to go ahead and start using magnesium, particularly through your skin,
Mm,
because there has been no reports whatsoever of anybody ever overdosing with magnesium through their skin. And I like to compare that to going swimming in the ocean. So the ocean is 35% magnesium chloride. And that's why so often when we go spend the day at the beach, we feel relaxed, we don't have leg cramps, we sleep better that night. It's because we've absorbed a good amount of magnesium chloride right from the ocean. But nobody ever worries about overdosing from swimming in the ocean, right? We've never even heard of anybody overdosing on magnesium from swimming too much. Otherwise, we wouldn't have surfers nowadays, right?
mm.
So it's completely safe. Of course, as with anything, if you are going to start any kind of regimen, it's always best to check with your nutritionist, healthcare provider, naturopath, whoever you're working with. But for relatively most people in the world, magnesium through your skin is completely safe to use.
Yeah, thank you again. And it does take a while in order to do the skin treatment because I actually, a lot of people, including myself, have done that also. But it does take a while because you have to make it a habit versus a routine, right? So I think it's one of those things that people they need to understand that it's not a overnight change. It's a drastic change over time. Am I right or wrong in that?
Yeah, for most people, depending on how deficient you are, the studies are showing that the more deficient you are in magnesium, the faster you're going to uptake magnesium into your body.
Mm,
So, people who are severely deficient start to feel like I did, start to feel magnesium start working within about a week.
mm,
And I love what you said that you kind of have to get it to be part of your life, which is why I personally love using a magnesium cream because most people use a regular body lotion every single day.
mm.
So if you can use one that gives you some good healthy benefits, why not do that?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again for explaining that. We actually started a new segment for season 3, a rapid fire round. And so there's some few words and some sentences, whatever I blur out, whatever your thoughts are, let's talk about that. And if you don't mind, do you have some time right now?
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So the first word is going to be mineral.
Mineral. So for minerals, to me, I think of a portion of our nutrition that is wholly under recognized. We're so often taught about vitamin C and vitamin D and vitamin A, but so few times do we concentrate on minerals, particularly magnesium.
Yeah, thank you. Um, ultra.
Ultra. Ooh. Ultra for me means uh, an extreme way of living your life. And I think that so oftentimes people get focused on, hey, I'm going to be healthy. So I'm going to toss out all the junk food in my house. I'm going to exercise for, 6 days a week. I'm going to go so ultra on everything. When really it's those small changes that we make in our life that really stick and really make the biggest impact long term.
Yeah. Next one is going to be biochemical.
Biochemical to me is the beautiful relationship between um, you know what's natural and what's naturally occurring in our environment and science, the beautiful science that backs everything up. For me, biochemical kind of reflects the idea that so many things that our grandparents and our ancestors had taught us are now being proven in science to actually really work.
Yeah, thank you. The next one is going to be diet.
Diet. Oh, that's a curse word. What? What did you say? You said a curse word. Diets. I have no, not even love hate. I have a hate word, feeling about the word diet. I believe that diets don't work, and that's why they fail all the time. I believe that changing your lifestyle and identifying yourself as a healthy person,
Mm,
literally changing your mindset to, hey, I'm healthy, and a healthy person acts in a way that eats healthy food and exercises and gets sunlight and reduces their stress instead of thinking, hey, I'm on a diet.
mm. The next one is spinach.
Spinach. Oh, spinach is one of my go-tos. Like I said earlier, it takes 10 cups of raw spinach to give you just the bare minimum amount of magnesium in your diet.
Mm,
So I try to get a lot of spinach in my life, and oftentimes we'll saute it with some lemon juice, olive oil, and salt, and it's
mm,
delicious.
Okay, well, here's a fun one. The If you said spinach and you said you love it, the next word, or I should say words, is Popeye the Sailor Man.
Popeye the Sailor Man. Well, he got lots of spinach, and I think that's why he was so strong and healthy, right? He had him and olive oil used to hang out, and I like my spinach with olive oil, so I guess it all kind of worked out.
Okay, awesome. The next one is headaches.
Headaches. So headaches are a symptom of low magnesium. And there's some really incredible research to show that the lower you are in magnesium, the higher chance of you getting headaches. And so many times we reach for Tylenol and pain relievers, which put so much undue stress on our livers.
Mm,
There's actually research showing that Tylenol causes more liver damage in the United States than any other liver causing issue combined.
mm,
So for headaches, a great option is to just use magnesium instead.
mm. The next one is going to be serum test versus HTMA test.
So our serum tests only look at about 1% of what's happening in terms of magnesium in our body. Those HTMA tests are going to give you an idea of what's happening long term and a more accurate representation of not only your magnesium, but your potassium, your calcium, the heavy metals that are building up in your body, which are such a huge red flag for all sorts of different chronic diseases that we deal with in America.
Yeah. The next one is going to be cream.
Cream. So magnesium, when used in a cream, magnesium chloride, when used in a cream, is an unbelievably safe and effective way of increasing your magnesium levels without having side effects, without having issues like digestive issues or worrying about overdosing. Plus, using a cream is easy, and it's relatively just a really great way to get magnesium, particularly into children who struggle to take pills and powders, or
Mm,
the elderly who might have a hard time with digestion,
mm,
and just anybody in general.
mm. The next one is water.
Water. Um, Water for me, I live in Florida and we have awful tap water down here. It basically smells and tastes like pool water. Um, I always drink filtered water. We have a system called the Berkey system,
Mm,
and it removes chlorine, it removes volatile organic compounds, removes everything.
mm,
But there's no electricity involved. It's a gravity filter. So when we have hurricanes down here, like we do often, and lose power for weeks on end, it's a great option to have clean, healthy water available at any time.
mm. The last one is lifestyle.
Lifestyle. So I'm a big believer that mindset is everything. And I've learned that when I declare, and I literally declare it to myself, when I just say, well, I live a healthy lifestyle, that makes me make healthy choices and in turn forces me to live a healthier lifestyle. So
Mm,
many times when we when we think, okay, we have a goal in mind, whether that goal is to, I don't know, be really fit or have rock hard abs or whatever it is, whatever your goal is in the future. So
mm,
many times we think, okay, well, I'm here and I haven't quite gotten there yet. So I'm not going to say that I'm a healthy person. I'm not going to say that I'm a fit person or an athletic person until I actually get to the goal.
mm,
That stops us from getting to that goal. When
mm,
we envision and say to ourselves, we are healthy, I live a healthy lifestyle, I am athletic, I am fit, you start making those choices a lot easier for you to actually attain those goals.
mm. Well, two more to go. You got the one next one is going to be a little fun one called Natalie.
Okay. So me, my wow. For me, I am an energetic, highly focused, completely determined person. I'm also a bit of a nerd and I love reading scientific journal articles for fun. So there's definitely a duality to that because I love doing exciting adrenaline rush kind of things. I've been whitewater rafting, I've been skydiving, I've been, you name it, I've done it. But the other side of me is that I love science and I love reading and I love research. So definitely two sides to this, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you. And the last word, I promise you, is back to basics.
Back to basics. So back to basics is focusing on what's really important and not letting other things get in the way of that.
Mm,
Cutting out the clutter and the distractions and the overwhelming things in your life and focusing on what gives you meaning and
mm,
what drives you and fuels you.
mm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Natalie, for playing the rapid fire round. It is something new that we have tried, and I'm getting great responses from all the guests that I've had so far. And season three is something new and something vibrant. I'm pretty sure season four will be something different also. But thank you again for playing this game for rapid fire.
This was super fun. Thank you for getting me to think on my toes.
So, before you leave today, Natalie, do you have any last words to all my Back to Basic listeners and my viewers? And how is your journey on Back to Basics too, on top of that? But before all that, one last question is that you know that you do a lot of reading and a lot of research. Is there a certain book that you want to recommend to other people that, wow, there's something new about Natalie which I never knew, and maybe I need to pick up that same book that what she has?
Well, a book that really kind of started my whole magnesium journey is The Magnesium Miracle by Dr. Carolyn Dean. So if any of this, anything that I've spoken to sparks your attention and kind of makes you think a little bit more, that is a wonderful resource guide that really kind of picks apart the science and answers those nagging questions that you might have about magnesium. It's a wonderful and incredible resource.
Yeah, so thank you again for answering that question. And I think I'm gonna go and pick up that book because I think I need to knowledge myself when it comes to magnesium and what are the benefits and disadvantages. And I think there's no disadvantages as what you're explaining. So thank you again for that. So, as I said, before you leave today, do you have any last words for all my Back to Basic listeners? And how is your journey on Back to Basics too, on top of that?
So my final parting words, and this kind of really rocked my world when I went through the whole health crisis that I went through, was being told that I was normal, even though I did not feel normal whatsoever. So I want to encourage anybody listening to define your own normal. So if somebody tells you, well, it's normal to, feel tired or sluggish or whatever it may be, and you don't feel like that's normal, keep pushing until you answers. Keep pushing until you find your normal back again. And then my journey on Back to Basics has been an incredible one. It's been wonderful to kind of really hone down on what it means to get back to basics, what it means to simplify and cut out the chaos in my life.
Yeah, Natalie, thank you again for coming here. When you and I chatted first time, I think we connected really well, and I think we needed to just grab all that knowledge and get put that into a show to enjoy the small nuggets that you're sharing with other people. So thank you again for coming here.
Thanks so much for having me on, and thank you for what you do to bring these topics to the light.
Yeah, thank you. I try my best, but thank you again. But with guests like you and everyone else helping me to give out all that knowledge, I think it's all my guests, not me. So thank you again for coming here.
Thanks so much.
So guys, we spoke with Natalie today, right? And we talked about magnesium. We talked about the minerals, the water, the lifestyle. And the funny one is that we also talked about Popeye the Sailor Man, who put the olive right on top. As usual, what do we always say? I mean, there is a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and hopefully Natalie will like this quote. I really don't know, but let's hope so. Mind training matters. It is not just a luxury or a supplementary vitamin for the soul. It determines the quality of every instant of our lives. Now, guys, remember, this is all a mindset game. But the thing is that you want a good life, you want a great life, a luxurious life. When we say luxurious, we always think rich people. But luxurious for me, it actually means comfort. Now enjoy your life as much as you can by using all these things that we are giving you, which is all the episodes on Back to Basics. So thank you again. And as I always say at the end of the episode, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Back to Basics.
That was fun. You got my brain moving.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I prefer to. It's a good time.
Hi guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. With your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are 3 things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.